This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Ramblin' with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. Today is Thursday. It's the first of the month, August 1st, and NFL preseason football is underway tonight as the Hall of Fame game between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears is taking place. Washington has made roster moves for the first time during this training camp session. We finally have some competition at the kicker position. We bring back an old face at wide receiver. We may have a bookend stud at the left tackle position, and the quarterback is stacking good and solid days, and that Jayden to Terry connection is looking magical. It's looking natural, and it's looking like it's ready to go as we inch closer towards the regular season. But before we get to it, starting today and through this season, all content from the Rio Robinson YouTube channel will be brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Are you looking for a new sportsbook this football season? BetUS is the answer. We bring the fastest payouts in the industry, where you get a 125% sign-up bonus for up to $2,000, fast and easy deposits and withdrawal process, live wagering on all major games. It's the best betting variety in the business. Did you know that BetUS can give you your very own personal account manager? Well, check my unique creator link down in the description below. Sign up for BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. But let's talk about practice today. Before we can talk about what actually took place on the field, we can talk about what took place off the field. We made some roster moves. We signed back wide receiver Byron Pringle, someone we brought in last year under Ron Rivera and company. He wore the number 3 for this team. We brought him back, I think, primarily to be a returner here, because we released 2 returners that were in the mix in that whole jumble that we had practicing on return so far. Damiere Byrd and Dax Milne. Damiere Byrd got some wiggle to him, but Dax Milne being released, a long time Ron Rivera questionable holdover. He's that guy. Him and Troy Apke were those guys where every year when the roster come out, we end up scratching our head like, how do these guys keep doing that shit? How do these guys keep cracking the roster with not much to go off of? Well, we now know accountability is real, and we're not here. You don't get a roster spot promised to you just because the other guys brought you in at this point. Dax Milne, we wish the best to you in your endeavors elsewhere. Shit, if I know Dax Milne well, he gonna find his way back on this roster because he always do. But most importantly, remember how the other day I was asking for a kicker update? I feel like no one's taking a picture of this guy. I don't know what this guy's face looks like. I'm talking about Washington's presumptive starting kicker, Raziz Ahmed. Don't know what he looks like. No one barely has given us any update of how he's been kicking, except I've seen the other day he was shanking shit. They brought in another kicker. They brought in some kicking competition. The Jacksonville Jaguars recently released Riley Patterson, former Lions kicker, former Jaguars kicker. It's crazy. Riley Patterson was waived for Brandon McManus, the kicker we brought in earlier this season, but let go after he got some freaky ass accusations on the team playing. Now Washington has Raziz Ahmed and Riley Patterson going mano-a-mano in a kicker duel. And if I'm to be perfectly honest, I think Riley Patterson's going to be your starting kicker. He does not have a strong leg whatsoever. He's only hit 350-yard kicks in his career out of 6, but he's pretty accurate from the intermediate and shorter part. But according to Jaguars Nation, the guy can't kick a touchback to save his life, which is going to matter with the new kickoff return rules. But we have a kicker competition on our hand, and I believe the kickers got right to it today, according to Sam Fortier. Washington's kickers went from 27, 33, 37, 47, and 53. Raziz Ahmed went 5 for 5. New guy Riley Patterson went 5 for 5. The kicking competition will probably be rectified once preseason games start next week, once Washington travels up to MetLife to play the New York Jets, then the Miami Dolphins, then at home for the New England Patriots. We finally get an update on the kicker position. You love to see it. Today's day of practice was about one-on-one drills. Offensive line versus defensive line, wide receivers and tight ends versus backers and cornerbacks. One-on-ones, and there was a clear standout to most people today. It was our left tackle, Brandon Coleman, stood out. He was the top player in one-on-one. We love to hear that. One-on-ones definitely highlight linemen because those are the ones we really want to see, because one-on-ones for wide receivers and cornerbacks, they heavily favor the wide receiver. The wide receiver knows where it's going. They know the route. Not everybody's a man corner, and the game is predicated around the offensive side. It's designed for the wide receiver to win. But O-line versus D-line, I love to hear that Brandon Coleman is putting on his best bodyguard. He's throwing Bama's out the club. Zach Selby said he has good feet, nice pinch, exceptional mirroring defenders. I think we might have a left tackle, y'all. According to Linnell Willingham of 106.7 The Fan, Brandon Coleman right now looks like a day one starter at left tackle. Not a surprise for a third-round pick to start, but here recently with this organization, rare. I think they got themselves a good one. Music to our ears, y'all. We all off season, we bitched and moaned about their lack of aggression at filling out the left tackle role that was vacant after releasing Charles Leno, longtime KG veteran. I think we got us one. If we somehow came out of this draft with alone a starting franchise quarterback and a bookend left tackle, I don't care how the rest of the class looks. That's a home run class, period, because you get the two linchpins of the offensive side of the ball for your organization. Jayden and Terry connection is growing by the day. Terry beat Forbes off the ball, and Jayden hit him in stride going down the sideline. Jayden took the first team reps, which we continue to love to see, which started with a pass to Terry McLaurin working against Benjamin St-Juste. Nice to hear Benjamin St-Juste is back out there after missing team session the other day and leaving after individuals. BSJ is back working with the first team, so we love to see that as well. Austin Eckler sprints forward for a nice game. Can't wait to see him in a game scenario. Austin Eckler seems like he's in the shape of his life, and Washington provides what he was looking for. A large role, but not the entire role. He gets to split the backfield with a very adequate other running back, a really good other running back in Brian Robinson. They get to split the load. Eckler was not about that I want 300 touches shit. He wants to split that load so he can have a full tank of gas by end of season. I think our running back room is going to be one of the strengths of this team going forward. Another deep bomb from Daniels to McLaurin for a touchdown. Of course, the crowd cheers and chants Terry's name. We love to hear it, man. You love to hear it. Every time you see Terry and Jayden linking up, it's going to be a sight to see. That's going to be a connection that we've been waiting for. Terry has been here for 6 years and had a different starting quarterback every season of his career so far. We need to put that to rest. We need to put that to rest because that is not a life that anybody should be living here, guys. 6 seasons, 6 different starting quarterbacks. It's time for Terry to see some shine. It's time for Terry to see his true, let's see how good Terry can really be with a guy that can consistently put the ball on the money and can consistently hit him in stride. Dan Quinn spoke of Jamin Davis, said he'll get some work with the first and second down at linebacker, but the plan was always to let him try out at defensive end on third down pass rushing situations. Byron Pringle was mostly brought in for return capabilities, not necessarily in the wide receiver mix, but hey, if he locks up a return spot, that's a wide receiver spot we can check off the list. I'm excited, man. Jayden is stacking good days. We have not once heard him have a bad day of camp yet. We've heard There were days where the offense got off to a slower part, but the guys finishing well. We're making things happen. Dan Quinn once again mentions De'Ami Brown by name. Safe to say, De'Ami Brown might be one of those locks at the wide receiver position, and we may finally have a coaching staff and a scheme that can actually bring some production out of De'Ami, because we've been waiting for it 47 games into his career. 47 games in, 476 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's not going to cut it, my boy. It's time to put up or shut up. It's time to get back to it. But Brandon Coleman being a standout, the quarterback continuing to quarterback, I'm excited. There's not too much to go off other than that, because, they're being very vague. But other than Sam Cosby, the one name we continue to hear on a daily basis is Brandon Coleman. And for that, I love it. Andrew Wiley, is he cooked? He's banged up. He's not in. He's working with the field goal block team and not the ones. I don't know what's going on there. Are we looking at a Brandon Coleman, Cornelius Lucas offensive line from left to right? I think that would be best for the team. I think that would be the most advantageous to protect our young asset at quarterback, because Andrew Wiley proved to be very much so a liability last year. But hey, new scheme, new offensive coordinator, new everything. I'm giving guys a chance to redeem themselves, because last year was a total cataclysmic disaster on all fronts of the roster, coaching staff, and front office. But yeah, man, that's all I got for the most part today. 7 days into practice. That's a whole calendar week. It's the first of the month. Next week, Washington plays a preseason game. Tonight, there is a preseason game. We won't be seeing Caleb Williams. We won't probably be seeing any starters at all, but the Bears and Texans are going at it. We are closer to Washington opening up the season in the preseason versus New York. This time next week, we will be doing joint practices with the New York Jets, and I imagine around that time is when we're going to finally get the call that Jayden Daniels is his team's starting quarterback. But we already know the vibrations when it comes to the faux quote unquote quarterback competition that Jayden is seizing a little bit more by the day. But that's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Until next time, Commander Rio out.